Hey there, everybody. Thanks for joining me for another one-man review. Today we'll be taking a look at Tillie Walden's Are You Listening, put out by First Second. I've really enjoyed anything by Tillie Walden that I've seen. Every time Tori and I go to Second and Charles, which is like one of our favorite dates, I see this book there and I want to get it, but it's always full price, and I refuse to buy anything full price at Second and Charles because I'm there to get used books. And we were there. I was looking at books, and Tori grabbed this and said, "Hey, what about this? This one looks kind of interesting." And I grabbed it and I flipped it over, and it was like, yes, there's finally one that was half off. So that was cool. She had picked out, and that was my one book that I grabbed. And I wish she could be doing this with me, but it's hard for her to read stuff right now. But she will read this eventually. So really enjoyed this book. Very happy to finally have read it, and very happy to get to talk about it. One thing I was really excited about with this book is to have a Tillie Walden book that's in color. I've seen, I flipped through it and stuff and really enjoy what she does with color. And finally got to read it, and it was what I was hoping it was. Right out the gate, kind of sets the thematics for the book, particularly this one quote here. I'll read the whole thing. It says, "The guidebooks play deception. Oceans are a property of mind. All maps are fiction. All travelers come to separate frontiers." By this quote by Adrian Rich from Itinerary. But I particularly like this "all maps are fictions" idea, and you get this very strange, fictional, bizarre map here of Texas, which is, according to the bio, where Tillie Walden grew up, somewhere Tori spent her teen years. Her definitely visited her family there a few times, and have coworkers from Texas. So like just feeling this book right out the gate. We get introduced to the two main characters pretty quick. This is Beatrice, otherwise known as B, and B is running away from home. It's not made clear why until later in the book. She is, hesitant to get on a bus. We then meet the other main character, Lou. Lou is on a road trip to go visit, she's going to go visit an aunt of hers. She's going to go visit relatives of hers. And you can see her here driving. They obviously are from the same town and they know each other. They bump into each other at this gas station here. They see each other and strike up a conversation. This, you can see some of the coloring that I really like here, where there's like these like texture brush used for kind of lighting effects, but the lighting effects will map over lots of things. It's a effect I see a lot of colorists use digitally that I quite like, and I think Tillie Walden is using it really, really well in here. It gives like an integrated sense of lighting to the scene instead of everything being pieced out. Everything feels more embedded in the scene, and just her choices in color are really beautiful. So, and I also like, she's not really going out of her way to be super referenced about like the cars and stuff. They have a cartoon bounciness, but there's a solidity and groundedness to all of her drawing. Here's another really good example as they're going through this tunnel. The lighting effects here, and this was, I was sitting there reading this, and Tori looked over and go, "Ooh, I really like how the colors are doing," and it's like, yeah, that's one of the things I like too. So that's always fun when she's seeing the same things that I'm seeing in a book. But yeah, come on, it's really beautiful stuff. Really interesting effect here with the words. I don't know how much of this is just supposed to get like the sense that they're talking over each other, but the I with the gap and then the U kind of shaping like a heart shape. These characters don't get into a relationship by the end of the book, so I don't think they're like saying "I love you" or something like that. But kind of the creation of like this Venn diagram where they're both stuttering like "I," "you," but it overlaps and there's like this moment of connection, like hidden connection there. I like that idea of the word balloon as a Venn diagram. I also really like this drawing of this big, like diagonal windows that really look like you're in a Denny's or something like that. It's a road trip book. Both of these characters are on the road. Obviously, one's running away from home, and the other, the older character Lou, is taking the younger character B with her on this road trip, kind of just seeing where they go. And it has, these the vibes that you get on road trips. Really like the dialogue in this sequence here, where B is asking, like, why are you like helping me out like this? I barely know you. And Lou says, that's kind of why. Everyone I know has been making me crazy. Being around someone who doesn't, who isn't, it sounds all right. So they're really both looking to get away from where they're at. And I can definitely see, growing up, wanting to get away from the hometown that I grew up in, talking to Tori about growing up in super small towns in Oklahoma and then being in Texas and her wanting to escape that life. And, just my own experiences of going somewhere else where no one knows you, how you can really restart a life. I really feel the characters' motivations in this book. I really, can sympathize, feel empathy for what the characters are pushing back against and escaping. So all of that feels pretty normal. It's pretty much just like a grounded book. But then things start to get a little weird. They find this cat, they name it Diamond, and they see on its tag that they got to go to 43 Glenwood Road, West Texas, and neither of them knows where West Texas is. So they're going to now go on this road trip to try and turn this cat back to its owner. And things start to get pretty strange. You get these characters from the Office of Road Inquiry there's a couple other strange scenes before this where things get a little magical realism, a little bit surreal. But you have these guys that now are like chasing the girls down and they're looking for this cat. So you get this stranger kind of story building in here where it takes a slightly mythological turn, and that makes it really compelling too. We finally get to meet Lou's relatives who they're going to visit, Aunt Cora and Uncle Mac. Really, like, just love the drawing and coloring in this scene. The Aunt Cora is like a really short, peppy character. Reminds me kind of my grandma Joe. The Uncle Mac, they just kind of really fun characters, really welcoming them in. And they know a little bit about where West Texas is and give some instructions. West Texas seems to be a place that you can't find unless you're like, going out of the way to find it. You kind of have to have like a magical entry point into it. There's a scene here where things start to get really strange. They're going across the Pecos River and the bridge starts crumbling, which at first you could be like, oh, I guess the bridge is falling apart, but it just doesn't quite feel right. They get over and they kind of come into this canyon, and they find West Texas, the town of West. There's this big, beautiful tree. I'm obviously, if you've been following the channel over the last year or so, become absolutely obsessed with trees. So having this big, beautiful tree in the middle of this town makes total sense to me. Completely abandoned town, but this is supposedly where the cat's owner's from. And you really get the sense that this is one of those like moving towns that you've either not got to be looking for to find it, or you got to know exactly the right way to get to it. It's not on a map anywhere. So the magical realism starts enforcing itself and getting stranger and stranger. One of the things I really like about what Tillie Walden does is oftentimes we'll have the panel borders just stop, and then there's no reason why these images should really flow together, but it's just a nice little visual conceit. And I think it just represents like reality breaking down a little bit, and you get these more montage scenes. And I like the compositions, the colors in those. The one thing really that I would complain about with this book is that some of the coloring is so dark that on this matte paper, which is a really nice paper and makes the colors look really nice. I think on glossy paper they would have been almost overbearingly intense. But the dark colors really bleed into the black and get lost. I think that's something that probably looked really good on screen, but then printed on matte paper. And that does make since a lot of the book is in these darker scenes, it can get a little muddy in some of those areas. And also, just how many things I've seen now where people will like colorize their black to be a dark purple or something like that. I think Tillie Walden's art would really, really benefit from that kind of look as well. So like a little bit lighter on these and then colorizing the blacks, I think could have made this book look like extra artsy. I don't know. Some really nice abstract scenes here. You get the story about why B is running from home. Here you get another one of those little panel breaks as we head into the more emotional territory. internal abstract territory. You find out that B was raped by her cousin, and that's why she's running away from home, that he continues to rape her. So this kind of, up until this point, I would have thought, oh, this is a pretty good kids book. But this is definitely a book that it delves into some pretty rough territory with abuse. And I would say this is for, like older teens type of book, probably. But it is handled very, very well, and you really get like the emotional motivations of the characters in these, and just the way that they comfort each other and talk about these things are really well written in this book. So not only a great artist, but a really phenomenal writer. The Department of Transportation guys show back up, and they really want to get this cat. You learn that this cat has magical powers to like reshape the map, basically reshape reality. So there's some like extra metaphor in there about belief or something like that, allowing you to reshape your perception of reality. And I think that's relating to the idea of trauma and abuse, is that you can not rewrite that it happened, but you can reframe your relationship to past events. I think that's one of the themes in the book, that the cat kind of represents the journey, that this is the thing, the power that you gain on the journey. But these guys are chasing them here, and then we get these really strange, surreal scenes where the cat is rewriting, Diamond the cat is rewriting reality, building roads, building bridges, rewriting the map as they go to help them escape. That's why these guys are chasing the cat. It's like a power too powerful to be out in reality, so they have to capture it. And that becomes, like the core of the book. Here, I think we get to the emotional core of the book, or kind of the grand statement at the end. When something horrible happens, or something amazing, really, anything that's big, it makes you feel like mountains could shatter, or the sky could disappear. You know what I'm talking about? Yes. Well, most places, mountains stay put, sky stays in one place. Kind of cruel, really. But here, everything is listening. The roads, the clouds, the trees, they know all your secrets. Everything you've seen is built by you, which is why you'll never see it again. And I think that reiterates what I was speculating as the core of the story, that it really is a metaphor for how you choose to rewrite the story of your life, how you choose to reframe the map of your life, that all maps are fictions. And as a narrative, you maybe can't change the core details of it, like there is a Pecos River, there is the fact that you were raped by a cousin, but the territory around it is still flexible, and those facts can be not, you can't do away with them, you can't ignore reality and ignore that they happen, but you can reframe your relationship with them. And I think that's the core message of the book, and I think it's pretty powerfully presented in a number of ways, both straightforward and metaphorically, visually, all that kind of stuff wrapped up in the character of the cat. So really sophisticated stuff, really nice. In the back, we get some first attempt at pencils, which is nice to see Tillie Walden's process in here. Some of the sketchbook stuff, I'm always a fan when they include that. Some of the inked pages, that, obviously as a creator, I always like to see those little things. So really continue to enjoy Tillie Walden's work. I think the ones, I still need to get both of these on a Sunbeam and Spinning. I have the collection of the early short works, but really glad I got this, really glad that Tori grabbed it off the shelf, and I doubt that we'll do a video about it together, but I very much look forward to having a conversation with her about it, because I think this is the type of book that you can really sit around and talk with people about. So highly recommended it if you have not read this yet. I know it's been out for a while. I'm probably late to the party on it, but quite enjoyed it, and thank you, Second and Charles, for finally marking it down.